A member for Barton.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Earlier this month I visited the South Australian Aboriginal community of Scotdesco, approximately 100 kilometres from west of Ceduna. I visited Scotdesco as part of my visit to remote Indigenous communities around Central Australia, from the Pilbara in Western Australia to Ceduna in South Australia to Catajuca in the Northern Territory. I had the opportunity to meet the community's Chief Executive Officer, Robert Larking. Robert informed me about the severe water emergency currently confronting the community. Due to its location, Scotdesco is not connected to main water network. It depends on water from the local catchment. It has received minimal rainfall over the winter period. During this time, it has relied on a sheeted water catchment and bladder storage to secure its water supply. I saw the water catchment and bladder storage for myself, and let me tell you that it was absolutely shocking. I can understand why the community is so anxious about the situation. The Water West scheme provides for subsidised delivery of tanker water within the Ceduna region. A semi-truck load of water can be delivered within the area for $280. However, as Scotdesco is located just 10 kilometres outside this prescribed area, that very same semi-truck load of water will cost the community $1,400, almost 5 times what it costs with the subsidy. This is an absurd and unacceptable set of circumstances. This community cannot be expected to fork out thousands of dollars a pop for the very same water the rest of us take for granted. The Scotdesco community is home to about 50 residents, a dozen of them children. As we can all appreciate, but as well all take for granted, water is essential to so many aspects of daily life. From hydration to cooking and cleaning, washing clothes and taking showers. This water crisis presents serious real-life consequences for the local community. Access to clean water was a prevalent issue throughout my visit to remote communities in Central Australia. I have seen how this issue has contributed to and compounded other health-related issues. I have seen how the lack of clean water has pushed many to rely on soft drinks and sugary drinks for hydration. I have learned about how the lack of clean water inhibits the provision of healthcare and health services and procedures such as administering dialysis machines. The water supply at Scotdesco community is now reaching severe emergency levels. This is unsustainable, unacceptable, and a permanent solution needs to be found. If weather forecasts are correct, South Australia is in for a long, hot summer. These conditions would be difficult to live through in a capital or major city, in particular during this time of drought. I could only imagine how difficult it would be for a remote community such as Scotdesco. As Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians, I have joined with the South Australian Shadow Minister for Aboriginal Affairs, Kayam Ma. Together we have called on the South Australian Premier and his government to act now on this issue. We have also drawn the attention of the Prime Minister and the Federal Minister for Indigenous Australians to this unfolding water emergency. We urge them to urgently intervene and develop a reasonable solution with the community, with the assistance of the federal government, and to improve Scotdesco community water security situation. The people of Scotdesco have been incredibly diligent and water-wise. They have played their part. It is now time for the South Australian and Commonwealth governments to show some leadership and play their part. I commend the Scotdesco community CEO. Robert Larking for his tireless advocacy on this issue. I also commend the South Australian opposition for standing with Robert and the Scotdesco community. This should be straightforward, and I urge really sincerely the South Australian government and the Australian federal government to have a look at the desperate situation that the people of Scotdesco find themselves in. As I said, Mr. Speaker, this community is not connected to any main water network. It relies on a dam which is covered by a bladder And as I said, I went and had a look at the water supply there. It is desperately low, and this community is about to run out of water.